Alright guys, the other video I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to solve on problem number 8, I'm going to do f. So f is asking us to solve for secant of 5 pi over 6. In order for us to do that, what we're first going to do is turn that radian measure into degrees. So we will take our 5 pi over 6, and we have to turn it into some degree measure. We have two ways to do this. Our first way is that we can set up a proportion, which we've done many times in the past, and I'm going to do it both ways, equals some number of degrees over 5 pi over 6. So if I'm going to solve this, the first thing that I would do is rewrite this as 180 over pi equals x times 6 over 5 pi, which is really just 180 over pi equals 6x over 5 pi. Then I would multiply both sides by pi, and those would cancel, so that I end up with 180 equals 6x over 5. Then I would multiply both sides by 5, and finally I would divide both sides by 180. So here's what that would end up looking like. I would end up multiplying both sides by 5, and then finally dividing both sides by 180. So that's what would happen if I were to use the method that we used in class using our proportions. Now watch how I do it in a much quicker way up here. If I know that pi equals 180 degrees, then I can do this crazy fast. Just substitute 180 for pi, and we're done. Same spot, right? All of this is the same as just doing this. So now I'm going to simplify this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 180 over 6 first, because I can do that in my head. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so 180 divided by 6 is 30. So what we really have is 5 times 30, which is 150. Okay, so I can get rid of all this other stuff, and the eraser is not working, so I'll just do this. All right, so we know we're dealing with 150 degrees. You're not done though. All you've done is the first step, which is just identifying that this is really asking for us for secant of 150. Now it's time to draw your picture. So when you draw the picture, you need a coordinate plane, and 150 degrees would be in quadrant 2, about here maybe. So I'm going to make a triangle out of that. If this is 150, then this is 30. My reference angle is 30. So I'm already shifting focus. Now instead of doing secant of 150, I'm going to do secant of 30, and remember that I'm in quadrant 2. All right, so secant of 30 is going to require me, since secant is the reciprocal of cosine, to do hypotenuse over adjacent. So that's what I need to do now. Figure out what the lengths are of these sides. In my normal 30, 60, 90 triangles, my lengths would be 1, radical 3, and 2. But in the unit circle, my hypotenuse, instead of being 1 or 2, has to be a 1. So this, which used to be a 1, is now a 1/2, and this, which used to be a radical 3, is now a radical 3/2. All right, so now I can do hypotenuse over adjacent. My hypotenuse is 1. My adjacent side is radical 3 over 2. So this equals 1 over radical 3 over 2. I can do keep, change, flip, which just gives us 2 over radical 3. But I can't leave it like that because that's got a radical in the denominator, so I have to multiply it by radical 3 over 3, which leaves me with 2 radical 3 over 3. And the last thing I have to do is consider that I need to add sugar to coffee. And in quadrant 2, sine and cosecant would be positive, so secant would be negative. All right, so that's a question very similar to a few problems that will be on your quiz tomorrow. Hopefully between those two and the unit circle, you've got a pretty good idea of how to study for this quiz. So good luck, you guys. Work hard, and I'll see you all tomorrow.